welcome to Chicago Reacts. My name is Lauren, and today I'm going to be looking at a video a little bit different than often. It's a Project Hail Mary video. It is why Project Hail Mary proves Hollywood gets heroes wrong. I really liked the movie, Project Hail Mary. I really liked the book, which I read shortly after I watched the movie, and I've been sort of on a Project Hail Mary deep dive obsession, just little bit of stuff. Part of it was because everything was sort of happening around the same time as the Artemis 2, and I thought that was really interesting because the commander on that mission was actually from my hometown, which I thought was just so cool. It's like, I definitely, he lived 10 minutes from me or something. Like, it's crazy. He lived right around the corner, basically. So I'm just like, we probably went to the same function at least once. I mean, he was significantly older than I was. I think he graduated high school, the same high school I went to, by the way, but he did graduate from there before I was born. But the point is, everybody from my hometown was really excited about the Artemis 2, and so I got really into Project Hail Mary as well. And I'm looking forward to this. I think it'll be interesting, little different than what we usually do, but I like storytelling, I like lambasting Hollywood, and I liked Project Hail Mary. So let's just move three things that I like together and talk about how much we need to glaze this movie even more.
I would choose just not to go at all. I don't have the bravery gene that you all have.
There's some weirdness happening with my headphones.
It's not a gene. You just need to find someone to be brave for.
What if I told you that the most powerful weapon in the universe isn't a lightsaber, a magic ring, or a radioactive spider bite? In fact, what if the thing that saves humanity from a literal solar extinction isn't a chosen one with a destiny, but a man with a PhD who is just really, really qualified to do the work? This is how Project Hail Mary pulls off a narrative miracle. It replaces the luck-based hero with the logic-based professional. And in a dying universe with extreme stakes, it proves that intellectual mastery isn't just another character trait, it might just be the only superpower that actually matters. Most Hollywood blockbusters rely on a destiny crutch. Think about Luke Skywalker. Really, he's just a farm boy, but it's okay because he comes from the right bloodline. Think about Harry Potter. He doesn't earn his destiny, he's kind of just born into it. A prophecy is written before he can
and better people than him continually help him to fail upwards.
Even walk, and his greatest power comes from something his mother did while he was still in a crib. Their success is a byproduct of their existence. They're kind of just lucky enough to be the hero of the story. But Project Hail Mary does something I have never seen in a mainstream sci-fi film ever. On the surface, it looks like a standard hero setup, but with different details. A man wakes up on a spaceship with amnesia, 2 dead crewmates, and a mission to save the sun. But as the story unfolds through the flashbacks we see, we realize that our hero, Ryland Grace, isn't there because he's the chosen one or because he's the bravest. He's there because he's the only person who understood the science well enough to be useful. In Project Hail Mary, the hero problem is solved by removing the hero and replacing him with a specialist. This goes against almost every other story about—
I like that sort of phrasing. They remove the hero and replace him with a specialist. It's like, actually, because that is something that's like a fun plot hole in a lot of movies, actually. You can be like, people do it about the Armageddon thing all the time. It's like, why don't you just train some astronauts to drill instead of training drillers to astronaut? Or I feel like there is actually good reasons for that in the movie's lore or something. I don't remember specifically the argument for that. But the point is, that's one common thing that's brought up. It's always like, well, why don't you just get the person who knows what they're doing to take care of this? Why are we putting it in the hands of a child? Or why are we putting it in the hands of somebody who is just sort of nepo baby to their way into the situation? And because they're the hero of the story, it'll be fine. But like, the fun plot hole is there was like 3 other people standing right over there who've been training for this a lot longer and know a lot more about the situation. Why are they not helping?
Saving the universe that imagines good intentions are all it takes to rise up and save the world. Let's look at how this intellectual superpower actually functions. And
actually, there's a line in the Star Kid musical Twisted. That's almost that exact thought process. It goes like, if you're sure of your intention, some magic intervention will give you the edge that you need. And it's like, hey, that's every Disney movie ever. If you're a good person, something will fall into place and magically you'll succeed. And I think that's exactly what he's talking about here.
Sci-fi stories, when the hero meets an alien, they have some sort of a universal translator, or some psychic or physical bond. It's a narrative shortcut, a stroke of luck that allows the plot to move. Compare that to Rylan meeting Rocky. When he encounters an Iridian, he doesn't find a way to feel what the alien is thinking. He uses a scientific method.
He uses math.
He measures the atmospheric pressure. He realizes that for them to even coexist in the same room, he needs to understand the physical constraints of the alien's biology. By calculating that Rocky lives in a soup of superheated, high-pressure ammonia, he's not just getting to know a new species, he's establishing the parameters needed to keep them both alive. It's the first step in turning a terrifying other into a solvable set of variables.
It was so cool.
He uses a
watching
clock
them grow
to
like
establish a base 10 numbering system. He doesn't wait for some magical universal translator to do the work for him. Instead, he uses the only language they both already speak, the fundamental laws of physics. By showing Rocky a digital clock and pointing out how the numbers change as time passes, he builds a bridge of pure logic. He's establishing a shared way to count, proving that before you can even try having a conversation with an alien, you first have to agree that 1 + 1 = 2. He builds a literal database to translate musical notes into linguistic data. Since Iridians communicate through chords and pitches rather than vowels and consonants, Rylan treats the alien's voice like raw data.
That means Rocky.
He uses an Excel-style software to map these musical frequencies to English words, essentially brute forcing a language through pattern recognition.
And he gets lucky because Rocky has a perfect memory and is able to just remember all of the things that Grace tells him. So if Grace says, 1, this is 1, pointed out on the clock, 1, and then Rocky will remember what 1 is and can translate it. Also, the book is fun because it explains that the Iridians count in base 6, but because Rocky is better at math than Grace is, they all do all of their calculations in base 10. They do it the human math way because Rocky can make those equations much faster. So they're just saying, well, we'll just do all the math in English, in base 10. In human. We'll do all the math in human. Thanks, Rocky.
Hi, Grace.
Hi, Grace. Hi, Rocky.
You're in a ball.
It's not a psychic bond. It's a high-stakes data entry project that turns a song into a conversation. And in the book, we get pages of granular detail on how they develop a vocabulary. In the movie, we see the visual manifestation of that labor. This isn't space magic. This is intellectual mastery. As a contrast, let's look at Avengers Endgame. Tony Stark is staring at a photo of Peter Parker, and the solution to time travel kind of just comes to him. He walks into his workshop, runs the math on the holographic display, and cracks quantum mechanics in one night. And emotionally, it works, like you feel it, but step back and look at what the movie is actually telling you, that the most complex physics problems in human history was solved not through years of hard work, but through grief. That right there is intelligence used as a narrative shortcut. The cruel irony is that in the first Iron Man movie, the directors knew better. Tony building the Mark I in a cave, that was earned. You watch.
That's what I'm like. Look, I won't go into a big fucking tangent about old Marvel versus new Marvel, but the original, like the first 2 phases even, were better storytelling in general. Like there's a couple of ones in there that were like not super great, but in general, they let you breathe with the characters. They were doing different things with the movies. Like you were getting different stories and they were telling them fairly well. And now everything is just the exact same story over and over again, and it's very boring. And I haven't honestly really even wanted to watch a Marvel movie in a long time. Probably kind of since Endgame. Like I had some fun with the Spider-Man No Way Home movie, but the Spider-Verse movies are better, and they did the multiverse better. Trying to think. I don't know. It's been a minute since I've like sat down and actually watched any of the new Marvel movies or their shows.
Him fail, iterate, burn his hands, start over. That version of Tony Stark made you believe in the science because it actually cost him something. By Endgame, the movie doesn't care how he solved it. It just needs him to solve it so the story can move. We never see the failed attempts. We never see the 47 inversions that don't work. We just know that he's a genius and accept the results. Rylan and Rocky, on the other hand, spend weeks failing. The story makes you sit in it. You watch them misunderstand each other, restart from scratch, and throw out entire frameworks. Because this is what real problem solving looks
Especially
like.
in the
Just
book.
two people who refuse to leave the room. Tony Stark's
mess up a
intelligence is
ton
told
in
to
the
us,
book.
but Ryland's is proven to us. It turns their first contact from a miracle into an engineering project. But here's the real twist that separates Ryland from every other hero on the big screen.
Do tell.
In a typical movie, the
Oh,
hero
yeah, I know what it
volunteers for
is.
the suicide mission
Spoilers!
because of their moral compass. Think of Captain America jumping on that grenade in the first movie. In Project Hail Mary, we learned the devastating truth. Ryland Grace was a coward. He didn't want to go. He had to be drugged and forced onto the ship because he was too afraid to die for humanity. This is a huge 180 from the heroic
makes,
ideal.
like,
The movie shows
yeah,
us that you don't need to be a
terrifying.
good person to save the world. You just need to be the person who knows how to keep the astrophage alive. This reframes the entire concept of a protagonist. We aren't rooting for Ryland because he's the embodiment of virtue. We're rooting for him because his intelligence is the only thing
he's
that could
very
save us from a frozen Earth. And what it really does is it shows us the ultimate importance of the expert. In other movies, we see the smart character often being brushed aside as the nerdy sidekick.
Yeah.
The person
The person who gets told English please when they say something that makes a lot of sense, even with the technical jargon that they throw in. But yeah, no, and again, with Ryland not wanting to go and having his choice taken away, it's really devastating. Like, yeah, was it the right? It's like, that's where that fun moral quandary comes in. It's like, was Strat actually right? I mean, she was wrong to drug and erase his memory. That was wrong. But like, he was also in the wrong for refusing that particular call. But like, you understand why he did. And yeah, guys, I love a movie that gives you something to chew on a little bit.
the hero ignores until it's almost too late. Think of the researchers in Godzilla or the climatologists in The Day After Tomorrow. I mean, their role is to provide the boring exposition so the protagonist has a reason to act fast. We even see this when the experts are treated as side teachers for the protagonist, the mentors who exist only to give the hero a crash course before the real action starts.
Right
Think of
before
Dr.
they
Selvig
go.
in Thor or the scientists in Pacific Rim. They do all the heavy lifting in the lab just to hand the big solution to a hero who actually gets to save the day. They are a means to an end. But in Project Hail Mary, the science isn't the side quest, it is the main
It's the
mission.
point.
The expert doesn't just teach the hero how to win, the expert is the hero. So why does this resonate so much more than a typical superhero story? Because
we're all
luck
people.
is exclusive. You can't choose to be the chosen one, and you can't work for it either. Your fate is already predetermined.
He's more realistic
But
as
logic
a person.
or intellectual mastery is something that you can work towards. It's something that is earned. As Eva Stratz said,
I don't need modest. I need people who think they're right when everyone else thinks they're wrong.
while most sci-fi reaches for the metaphysical or the spiritual to bridge the gap between worlds, Project Hail Mary takes a much more grounded approach. It differentiates itself by suggesting that the universe isn't connected by mystical bonds, but by objective facts. As opposed to a film like Interstellar, where we're told that love is the one thing that transcends time and space. And it's a beautiful sentiment, but it's a total fantasy. There isn't really
I still
any
haven't
science
seen
behind
Interstellar.
that. In this story, the relationship between Grace and Rocky is the heart of the film.
It's so
but that heart
good.
is built on a foundation of physics. They don't become friends because they are destined to meet or because of some cosmic alignment. They become friends because they are the only two beings in the quadrant who understands the inverse square law. It's a
It's also in the book, I think Rocky does sort of bring up the possibility that it was kind of fate almost that they would meet. And it kind of goes into it a little bit deeper, talking about, well, it has to be people like us who would meet, because if there are other life forms that are of lower intelligence, then they're just gonna die. If they can't conquer interspace like travel, then they're gonna die. Interstellar travel, then they're done. But if they are smarter than us, if they're less intelligent, then they can't solve the problem because they can't get here to solve it. And if they're more intelligent, then they don't need to come here because they've already solved it. Like, they can already solve it, so it will be fine. So it's like, it's got to be people who are in the same sort of place, mentally, evolutionarily speaking. And it is interesting. It's like, is there other life out there? We don't know, but like, we probably never would. Like, who's close enough to have this problem? and not be able to fix it because that's the only people who are coming. It's interesting. I don't know. It was an interesting sort of philosophy in the book.
Bond forged in logic, proving that the most profound connection isn't magic, it's mutual understanding. The logic superpower solves the hero problem by making the hero human. It suggests that our greatest chance for survival isn't tied to fate or destiny. It's in our own ability to observe, think, and innovate. And that is more profound, relatable, and beautiful than any other hero destiny out there.
I would choose just not to go at all. I don't have the bravery gene that you all have. Trust me.
It's not a gene. You just need to find someone to be brave for.
Project Hail Mary isn't just another fun space adventure. It's a love letter to the people who actually love science. By stripping away the luck and the destiny aspect of things, Andy Weir and the filmmakers created a story where the stakes feel real because the solutions are actually earned. It proves that in a cold, indifferent universe, the most heroic thing you can be is competent. We don't need a Superman to save us from the next extinction level event. We need a guy with a lab coat and the stubbornness to keep working until the numbers add up. Because in the end, when you desperately need something fixed, you don't look for a miracle, you look for someone that actually knows how to fix it.
Yeah.
Let us know what you guys think of this movie's take on the traditional hero role, and follow us for more breakdowns like this.
I liked that a lot. Ooh, and that was fun. Good job, Hyperverse. I agree with all that. That's a fun one. I enjoyed that video again. Like I loved Project Hail Mary. Like it was such a good movie. It was so good, and the book was really good too. I barely read these days, but that book was fucking peak. And again, it's the heart of it. It's the Rocky and Grace relationship, which is just so amazing the whole time. If you haven't seen it, don't know why you watched this freaking video. I really hope you watched it. Watched the movie so you're not spoiled by anything. But it was a cool video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you want to see more stuff like this, go ahead and let me know. If you want to give the video a little like, do that too. Subscribe to the channel. Make sure you hit the notification bell because I've gotten some, like according to my analytics, a lot of you don't have the bell notified, which means you're not knowing when we post videos, which is like basically every day. Sometimes I miss one, but almost every single day we post a video. And then if you want to help the channel out in other ways and monetarily, then you can do that by in a lot of different ways. We've got channel memberships. We've got you could buy me a coffee on the main page, and that's less of a recurring payment. Or we've got a Patreon where we've got movies, we got anime, we got things that couldn't go on YouTube for like copyright reasons. So just a mix mash of things over there. Thanks again. I'll see you in the next one.